Hi, my name is Dora Gunyu. I'm the founder of the Shea House, a natural cosmetics company that is invested in giving you holistic, natural cosmetics that help you feel confident in your own skin. This month of March, we are profiling different women who are leaders in their own right and are also clients of the Shea House, because we want to celebrate and also find out their journeys around empowering women and promoting action towards women equality and equity. So today we are at the house of Dr. Eunice Adubango, a mother, a wife, a business leader, a coach, and an author of some of the books that she has written, including The Making of a Gem. And we just want to hear her story in terms of how she has used her own platform to accelerate action towards empowering women. We are at Dr. Eunice's kitchen, and she's the founder of Eunice Kitchen.
Welcome to my kitchen.
Yeah, I think this is like really very, very appropriate that we are having the interview in your own kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think you're very passionate about food. I've heard you talk so much about food. And the thing is that I also, which is interesting because, I mean, being people who are like civil engineers, usually very, very structured in their thing. It's not like cooking. Cooking is like an art.
Yes.
It's a very arty thing. I don't know how you reconcile the...
Cooking is actually structured. And I will tell you that as I've grown up, I feel like our physics, chemistry teachers gave us a raw deal. Because if they were explaining certain things to us when we were doing the chemistry, the physics, if they were explaining certain things very well, we would have actually aced those subjects. Like I'll show you something on on this. You see, when I increase this flame and you start to see the yellow, I'm spoiling the gas. And it's not as hot. So you remember the things we did with Bunsen burners, luminous flames, illuminous flames?
I hope so, yes.
That is cookery. Now, the kid who was good at cookery, who thought, for me, I'm not good at sciences, didn't listen during that class. They go to catering school, they get a job as a chef, they start to waste gas. I have had that in Eunice Kitchen. When you say, guys, the customer wants the food quickly, they increase it to the last level. Then the flame is yellow, it is not hot, then the things are not heating up so quickly. But we got to know in the, like those days when they're calling us Bunsen burners in senior too, that the hottest part of the flame is the blue, and you reduce it a bit, and that is when you see the blue. So for me, in my love for cookery, I have found a lot of chemistry. And I think for me that's where the joy
because
is.
it's actually it's a formulation.
Yes, it is. You see, I've done spices. I do spices actually.
Really?
Yes.
What is the brand of your
spices?
I
actually used to even sell them. I had gotten a UNBS certification, EK spices. It's just that I didn't have enough funding for me to be able to produce. I'm hoping that maybe in the next 3 or so years I'll be able to produce again. But I do my own spices. I will show you something. I do my own spices. So this is tandoori masala. Just smell and see. It's my own. This is
where
tea.
Where do you grow them from?
I just buy spices from.
I like this one.
This is tea.
It's a mix of ginger.
This is tea masala. Yes,
it's a different.
My own mix. So in here there is lemongrass, there is bay leaf. It's not like your common tea masala that you find. In fact, the chai, I used to call it Ike chai spice. I have a lady that used to order for her child. Her child studies in South Africa, and that child would not go to school without a pack of my spices. Like she would take a whole dozen. I didn't have the funding. If you are going to do spices, you need to do it at a very large scale. And when you produce a little at a time, you don't make the money. But I used to do that. I used to do chisubi. The chai. I used to do legume masala. Because I realized most of us eat legumes in our homes. We are eating peas, we are eating beans, and yet everybody who is making spices is making beef masala, chicken masala in the beans. And then they even will say, this Royco, when you put it in your beans, it will taste like meat. But then the reason I bought the beans is I want to eat the beans. So why do you tell me that it will taste like meat, you know? So I was doing a legume masala and people used to like it. But right now I still do for just my household. But yeah, so for me, when I look at that, like for example, I studied environmental chemistry. When I look at the environmental chemistry I did, it is everything I'm doing in the kitchen. Yeah. So I'm still engineering.
But you see, the thing is, you are a very, very accomplished person. In your marital life, you are an inspiration to people. As a mother, you are an inspiration. As a business leader, you are an inspiration. As a coach, you are an inspiration. As a child of God, you are an inspiration.
Thank you.
There's so many facets of your life, but they're kind of like all joined. And I'm just wondering if what are the things that actually shaped your life? Like what things in your life have actually shaped the woman that you are, that you're able to do all these things and still be able to be thriving in your life?
I think I'll say 3. One is people have been around, or people that have been around me, mentors. I have learned both from the older people and then the people my age, and lately even from the young people. I have grown enough to know that I can learn from a young person. But in all honesty, in marriage, for example, I credit a number of people. I credit Reverend Latima Mwanguzi and the wife. They were my reverends in the church where I was. We have so many couples that we have learned from as with my husband. So really, people. I credit people. I still remember a navigators couple that picked me up when I had gone to study my master's in Dar es Salaam. When they got to know I was going to get married, when I come back, they picked me up and started working with me intentionally. Showed me how to make your home, showed me how to be intentional with your home, showed me how to shop, showed me how to take care of children. They would leave me with their children on a random night and they would be like, take care of the children. And so I sort of practiced on their children, and then I got to see how they love each other. They took me to their bedroom, showed me this is how you lay the bed, this is, like those basic things. So 1, people. 2, family, upbringing. My mom was a very involved mother, really involved. So involved that there are things I know she wanted to do in her life that she didn't even do because she was being involved in her own lives. So I really credit my mom. That's why I tell people mentorship. It's very important. Mentorship from the home or from a mother figure. Me, it was mom. You, it could be an auntie, it could be a grandmother. So for me, mom. And then 3, the biggest has been God. I got to know God when I was 10. And for me, when I say know God, I mean know God, not to be around God. I mean knowing God. And I have walked very intentionally and very closely with God from that time. And that has shaped my life. And when I say walking with God, I don't mean being in church and shouting and screaming and speaking in tongues. You know how for me, scripture is very practical. Now I got to know God at a very practical level. I see God, I see scripture and I translate it literally. I will share with you. Today I was with my friend and I was sharing with her from Job chapter 29 verse 4, where Job says that I remember the times when God was my friend and his friendship was felt in my home. And I told Manuel, I said, what are the things that show your friend, like if you were my friend, what would show that you're my friend in my home? And she said, maybe some picture, maybe an ornament I bought you, maybe you would know my favorite meal because I visit often and I eat it, maybe you would know my favorite juice, maybe I leave there some clothing when I came, maybe my perfume, maybe. And I said, now when Job says God's friendship was felt in his home, it meant that when they looked on the wall, they saw God. It means that in the bathroom they saw God. It means that on their dinner table, it means that God visited and he would come with gifts. So for me, I see scripture like that. Now someone probably saw that verse one time, passed it. For me, I stopped and then I said, so how can I get this kind of friendship where God's friendship is felt in my home? For me, it looks like right now, I want to do dinner. I want water. Okay, when I want water, let me have water. You get what I mean? Because if I have to suffer, go to the tap, look for water, and that for me doesn't sound like God's friendship is felt in my home. God's friendship is supposed to be felt in my home like I am supposed to be amply supplied. I'm supposed to have everything that I need. So for me, that is what it looks like. So that's That's what has shaped me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really
I'm doing dinner.
Yeah. We're cooking and we're talking, which is a good thing. So I wanted to just find out from you to just speak because, like I was telling you that a number of women, you're now a client of the Shea House. And I thought that this would, because this is a month of March and it's a Women's Month. And so I wanted to just kind of like just shed a spotlight on women who I know are such an inspiration, so that they can just share with us their journey, what they're doing to basically empower other women. And I know that you really do that very intentionally. So I wanted to just speak, I mean, the theme for this year is Accelerate Action, which is really supposed to see how are we collectively using our efforts or our voices or platforms to be able to put another person, another woman, lift up another woman and empower them. So I wanted just kind of like you to speak to me about what you have actually been doing in this journey of empowering women, whether it's as a wife or it's as a mother, just speaking to us about some of the efforts that you're taking.
I think for me the biggest and what people know me for is I've really mentored people. Right now, in my mentorship space, I have, if we are talking just women, if I'm not talking about children, and then the couples we mentor with my husband, let's see, I have about 158 people that I am mentoring currently.
Currently?
Yes.
How do you do that?
I'm very scheduled.
Those are women?
Yes, those are just women. I'm very scheduled as a person. I'm scheduled and guarded. Like right now, even if someone came and said, please mentor me, I wouldn't take them on. Like, I know I can handle this and that is it. I'm scheduled. I meet them at particular times. I allow them to call me at particular times. They can't visit me just anyhow, things like that. But the thing I have done is really mentor people. Mentorship is about showing you what has made me and then telling you, come up here and do the same. That is what mentorship is. And that is exactly what I have done with these women. I have walked with them, I have exposed my life to them, and I have told them, this is how you do life. And they have followed suit, and I have so many testimonies, so many things that women have become that just make me so happy. A woman who came to you, there is a lady that came to me and she was very suicidal during that time. All the time, mommy, for me, I'm just going to kill myself. And there are times I'll tell her, okay, go ahead and kill yourself. And then right now, she can go through a season and she never even calls me. And then she tells me like a month later, she's like, hey, I was going through this, it was like this. And then I'm like, so what? And she's like, I just opened all those teachings you gave us and I said, Evelyn, you have to do this. And I see a very strong woman right now, and that just gratifies me. I remember a mother who came to me one time and she wanted me to pray for her son, and I said, no, I won't pray for your child. What I will do is I will teach you how to pray for your child so that you don't have to come back to me all the time. Because if I pray for your child for a flu, when they get a headache, you'll come back to me. When they get an accident, you'll come back to me. But I will teach you how to pray for your child so that the next time they get the next series of things, you won't come back to me. The child had autism. So I told her, she started walking the journey with her son. And her son is now fine. Because I told her, you see, when the attack comes at midnight, I'm not going to be there. So I need to strengthen you for that attack. Now, the testimony is that last year, her daughter became very ill. Very ill. They got admitted. The child actually missed, I think, 2 terms of school. They got admitted, and for the entire first term, I didn't even know anything. And she was communicating with me the same way, and yet stuff was so bad, And then when now they needed to leave the country and go to another country for everything, she sent me a message and she said, Mommy, I need to let you know we've been in Nakasero for this while or whatever, but don't worry, I'm strong because of what you have told me. I went to see her. My God, that child was sick, swollen everywhere. But then I'm looking at this, my daughter, she's strong, And then the child was telling me, Auntie Eunice, there is a baby next door who was born or has an abnormality. Please check on that child. So even the sick child is strong because the mother is strong. You get
But how did that journey for you, how did it start about mentoring? How did you begin? Because it's something that people just randomly start.
I
What
noticed in
motivated
my
you?
life growing up that everyone I worked with always changed. Everyone I worked with always changed. And so in my former church in Mokono, in St. Philip's and Andrews, parents even started to bring me their children. I was just a child, but parents would entrust me with their children. And they would be like, just work with my child. You worked with the other person's child and see what they have become. Just work with my child. I mentored so many people in the worship team where I used to lead. And so over time, I actually realized that I'm a kingmaker, I'm a priest maker. I realized that there's just something about me and sharing my life with people. I'm a tough person, granted, but I don't know how that part I can't even answer how I mix the love with the toughness. I also don't know, but somehow the people around me know I'm tough, but I feel so loved. That I don't know how I do it. I guess it's really the love of Christ. Like how Job says in Job 29 still, he says that when I would look, I remember the days when I would just look at someone and my smile of approval will encourage them. I guess really that's really the same grace upon me. So when I noticed it, and then when I saw the people who mentored me, especially before I got married, inside me, I felt like I think I need to return this favor. I think I need to also, yes, I need to work with someone. Then another thing is, as I went through life, I discovered people really don't know stuff. Like I've encountered so many ignorant people. It hurts. And so when I realized people don't know so much, they've been in the church for so long, but they don't know so much, I felt this compassion of, why can't I teach people what I know? And so that's how. Just realizing people really don't know. People are hurting because they have no idea. I said, let me teach them.
How do people get into your mentorship space?
I will tell you that the first time I started to mentor intentionally, I asked people myself to come and be mentored, and they refused. I was rejected. I remember the first 3 ladies I asked, I went up to them, I said, because I realized they had a need. They refused. They were not going to, they didn't see a future. So they refused to be mentored. I admit it was painful. It was very painful. And then over time, I got into mentoring people when I started to do ministry at church. And then they would send to me people. And then those people would send me other people after the season. Over time, I started to ask people. So usually people come into the space when I ask. Like I do the same thing I did at first when I was rejected. I usually do a flyer and I say, my space is open for mentorship this season, if you're interested. And
that's mostly women.
Yeah, mostly women. I do mostly women. Then I do young people, children between the age of 9 and 12. Those I do both, girls and boys. And then together with my husband, we do couples. Yeah, we do marriage.
Yeah, when I get married, I definitely will sign up for a couples mentoring. So it's almost like how you do, like how Mavuno would do like Ndoa and something like that. Yes. Because also, I think also the foundation, family is, it grounds everything. I may be a strong woman, but if I get married and I'm not, I have to find a way of balancing my strength. And you're a very strong woman. Yeah, so in terms of, because a family is made up of husband and wife, but then there has to be a balance. Because I think the thing is that sometimes, like as women, even when I talk about empowering women, is not empowering women. I don't know how you can speak to that, because empowering women is not that we remove the men out of them.
No, and it's also again not removing the woman from doing stuff by herself. Because sometimes we think empowering is give them a handout and whatever. But empowering is helping those inner gifts and abilities to come to the fore. And sometimes the gift and the ability is the ability to step back when you need to step back. To be empowered, because someone empowered me in that way. I'm a firstborn child. I'm strong-headed, very opinionated. Somebody needed to empower me to allow my husband to lead. You understand?
Yeah.
And how did they empower me? By making me understand that I am enough. I don't have to shout. I don't have to show. I don't have to show up. My opinion doesn't have to win. I'm enough. So they helped me by grounding me in the word. And then I got to know that I'm enough. It's not the things that I do that make me who I am. And then interestingly, when I started to live like that, then my husband again started saying, no, I want you to be ahead of, I want you to. And yet, when I was doing it by fighting, he was fighting back.
Yes.
You get what I mean? So empowering is to help that which is on the inside of me, that God has already put on the inside of me, to come to the fore, and then I will begin to shine. Yeah.
How does empower? So there's empowerment. We're talking about accelerating action. There's empowerment, empowering a woman as a woman leader. There's empowering a woman as a business, as a mother. There's empowering a woman as a business person, or as a business person, or as a leader. Can you speak to each of these components and say, what does that look like for you? Because I know that you're coaching in all these kind of spaces.
Yeah. So what I do is empowering the woman as a mother. I teach them what motherhood is, as far as our Father says. What is motherhood? What is it that God has given to you to make you a good mother? Now I'm empowering you. I'm making you meet with that which is on the inside of you, that God has put on the inside of you, or the promise that God has given that helps you to become a good mother. And then I say, but you see, there are many facets to you. God didn't create you only to be the mother. Maybe you're also a leader in the church. How do you say? And sometimes I will use the same verse, one verse, and then I will use that one verse, like the verse I've told you about, feeling God's friendship in my home. I can also feel God's friendship in my business. The customers are coming, the customers are happy, the customers are recommending me because God's friendship is upon me. His light is shining upon me. So sometimes I even use that same scripture to help you see the different facets of life. And so, but as a business person, I walk with you. Like I said, mentor, I have walked this journey of business. I had these many businesses. I closed them. Now I have this one. It is working. What can you learn from what I have done? But also, empowering means I need to be able to speak into your life. And that is usually the hard part. People want to just learn from you, but they don't want you to speak into their life. Now I speak into people's life. I will call you to order. I will tell you, no. What you have just done is actually wrong. I will see your poster, and then I will call you and I will say, this thing is not, it's not sitting well. This font is not good. This poster is too, it's too busy. I am empowering you because I am correcting you, because empowering also comes with correction. You understand? So I teach you my ups and downs. I correct you. I help you. But also, I connect you to my network. I'm empowering you. Because sometimes when you're powerless, it means you do not have access to certain networks. To empower you is I connect you to certain networks. One of the things that I do when I mentor people is I even start talking about their businesses. I will go and I will even advertise their businesses. I will write something about your business after the mentorship. And what am I doing? You have a following of 200 people. I have a following of 15,000 people. I'm empowering you. I'm giving you a platform. That is part of empowering each other. So I give you a platform, and then when you're on that platform, more people will see you. But also, because they've seen Eunice talk about it, they are going to trust it. Because if Dr. Eunice has said something, then I think that is good. And then they will also come and buy into you. So that's also part of it.
So I like that you're looking at a woman as a whole. Yeah. Because I think the thing is that a lot of women, like sometimes, I mean, when my daughter was young and I was still trying to grapple, I mean, even up to now, I mean, you never actually learn because you're continuously learning with your child as the child grows. Yes. And then you find that, I think sometimes women, we tend to question ourselves. Our competences, like if your child is maybe doing something and you feel like you have failed as a parent, and so I think that sometimes like people just to walk with you and say, okay, fine, like I like what you said about being enough. That if you identify that you're actually enough and God has actually given you this person to nurture, then He will actually guide you in that. But then what I like about what you're saying is that you're looking at a holistic picture of a woman, that you are all these different facets, and it speaks to you as well, because you're kind of like thriving in all these different spaces, and yet most women kind of like struggle. They can be very, very strong maybe as a leader, business leader, and then some areas tend to suffer.
Yeah.
So I wanted to find out what is the main thing that would be able to ground, even when you're talking to most of these women in terms of empowerment, what is the central thing that you teach them so that they are able to be grounded in all these areas?
How to relate with the Father.
Yeah, as in God.
God. And I teach them how to get God from the clouds into your kitchen.
Yeah.
Into your fridge, into your living room, into that cup of tea, so I consider myself successful if I mentor you and then I see you interpreting the scriptures. You know, the scriptures is God.
Yes.
That's why I say get God from, because the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God.
Yes.
So if I can make you interpret God in your situation, I'll have one. So that's usually how I gauge that this person is doing okay.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get God, who is the Word, and you're going to translate him into your saucepan. You're going to get God and translate him into your fridge. You're going to get God and translate him into that Shea shop as you are mixing.
Yeah.
You're going to get God and translate him into your bedroom. You're going to get God and translate him into your friendships. So for me, if someone can get the scripture from the prayer room, because so many times people just are told to cram. Then they cram. If you can get him out of the cram work and put him in your day-to-day life, I have mentored you.
Yeah.
So that's really what I do. So for me, the central thing, because in him we live, move, and have our being. So you are working in him, or you should be able to work in him. You should be able to eat in him. You should be able to sleep in him. Not the crammed one. Leave the one we cram. I know the plans I have for you, I don't want that one. Even my children, I tell them, So what does this word plan mean? Huh? So what is your expectation from God? So how can you understand this thing in your day-to-day life? Yeah. Because I think that's really what is lacking in the church. So for me, I consider myself to have empowered you well as a Christian woman if you can get God in your daily life. If you can do that for me, then for me, I know I've done a good job.